I first started thinking about writing a book with witches and where people had magical powers, not surprisingly, in 2020, when we also didn't have the power to do anything. I didn't end up writing. I wrote it. I just looked this up. I wrote it during NaNoWriMo of 2021, the first draft of it, and it'll come out in September of 2023. So, but really what I ended up wanting to do with it, and what I hope I have done with it, is, so I have this character who is a witch and has magical abilities and can do things we dream of doing, but it still doesn't help. Like it, and I think this is Alice Hoffman really did pioneer this. Like, it doesn't solve any problems to have magic. It doesn't fix. You can't make the people that you love do what you want them to do. You can't save the world. You can't. It's just another thing that gets in our way of accepting that we can't change things. So it's like I wanted the fun of the magic, but I also needed it to help myself work through that really difficult, this thing is happening and I can't fix it. I have a long time fan of tarot cards and reader of tarot cards and explorer of that world. So I've been in that since I was, a not very goth teen, because I lived in Kansas and I was a little scared to be really properly goth, but I've always loved that. So that's always been a part of my world. And then I made a conscious decision, because I wanted to set playing the witch card in Kansas. I kind of just moved it away from the Salem and the witch trials and the history of that. I decided that underlies all of our understanding of witchcraft and witches and where they came from. And then I didn't use it for anything. There's some history of tarot in there and where those come from. And oddly, their origin is not particularly magical. It's a little strange. Very little of it is in there too, because I totally rabbit holed on that stuff, and I absolutely can. But in the end, it's really a very immediate and modern day story of somebody who's sort of seen her mother's life and doesn't want to recreate it. It's an invitation to think about something you might not have thought about otherwise, and an invitation to open yourself up to thinking about things that maybe you've not allowed yourself to think about, the people around you or the experiences that you're having. In the story, there's some debate, because the particular deck of tarot cards in the story is itself magical and has its own intent and purpose and goal. So there's a lot of debate in the story about whether the cards create the future or are a way to look at the future. And the answer turns out to be sort of very specific to the role of those cards in this moment. And then the family is able to change the way that they look at tarot cards. It's the perfect title. It's a great title. You wouldn't believe how long it took us to come. I was looking, again, I like to look back at my files and what I named them. And I actually called this one Wild Card. That was what it was named in my head. And then we really wanted, it's nice for readers to know what they're getting, especially today when a lot of time you're picking a book online. So you don't know a whole lot about it. So it's really nice if the title telegraphs. It's great if it can telegraph, hey, witches, which is ideal. But even if it doesn't, like, you need your title, you need it to give the reader a little bit of a clue, I think, about genre and, what kind of expectations they might have about whether or not this is going to be funny or fun or sad or long. I mean, I guess you can look at that. But anyway, you need to get as much information to a reader as quickly as possible. And this title, it really does. I mean, it's got play in it, and it's a pretty playful book. It's got witch in it. It's got card in it. Yeah, it's got everything.